morning. It's time to rise, shine, and be great. Welcome to Living Local 15. I'm Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for joining me today. On today's show, we are exploring the food options at ACME by Full Circle. This is the perfect place to go for lunch, so I'll be sampling some of their menu, including their infamous Brisket mac and cheese bowl. And later, we are learning all about proper ergonomics with Summit Physical Therapy. That and more happening now.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
This segment sponsored by ACME Full Circle. All right, guys, now that we have learned all about ACME Full Circle, we're going to taste some of their popular items. And joining me now is Tim Lunggarden. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay, so we're sitting down tasting some of these dishes. So Tim, it smells so good.
Well, that's
okay,
good.
And
That's
it's
a good
nice
start.
and hot, and I want to dive in. But first, please share with us a bit about your menu.
So this is like a neighborhood bar, a neighborhood restaurant, and we have, older crowd, younger crowd. So we just thought, we talked about it, and just having something for everybody is what we're trying to do. Even like vegetarian, we have some of those things. I have some vegan items, not a lot, but if somebody were to call me 24 hours ahead when they were going to come in, I used to do a lot of vegan dishes, and so I would definitely do that for somebody that had that specialty diet, or that's what they follow.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
we try to do, just try to please everybody.
Yes, something for everyone. They have a full appetizer menu that have so many different options, and I have a couple of the appetizers here, as well as sandwiches, burgers, pizzas, and of course the staple barbecue. Okay, let's dive in. So first, and speaking of the vegetarian, this is a vegetarian option. It is fried mushrooms.
Fried mushrooms,
Okay,
and
tell me all about it.
It's just something that we didn't have on the menu at the beginning, but everybody, they had them before, and so we brought them back, and they seem to be going over very well. So I did you can get a breaded or you can get a battered, and we went with the battered mushroom. It's easier on the oil, actually. And it's just, I think it's got a better taste, and it holds the temperature a little bit better.
It does, because they're hot, but it also holds the moisture. Right? It makes it nice and juicy, because mushrooms are a juicy vegetable, but it's kind of hard to fry. But you guys nailed it.
Good. Glad.
Yes, it's good, and it's not oily. So I think the batter choice made it less oily, super juicy, and of course hot.
That's the most important part.
Yes, everything you like in a mushroom. Okay, we are moving on to one of your hot items on the menu, right?
Yep, for sure. We go through so much brisket mac, brisket tacos, brisket sandwiches, but the brisket mac is one of our most popular dishes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's just brisket. We're going through more and more and more brisket.
Yeah, so tell me about the layering of it all.
So there's actually, the macaroni itself is layered with a bunch of flavor, jalapeno, so it's got a little kick but not too much. And then the brisket is smoked for 14 to 16 hours. One thing with barbecue, it tells you when it's done, you don't tell it when it's done.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, you have people like, oh, well, it only takes 4 hours. No, it's gonna tell you when it's done. And so we make sure that we cook it to the point where it's telling us it's done.
I've never had brisket chunked like that.
Yeah, something different. So.
And when you bite into it, it gives you so much flavor and moisture in it, and it's fun to kind of eat it, and you feel hearty. You feel like it's hearty and full.
Yeah.
And it's not overly drenched in sauce.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you mentioned the dry rub of it all.
Yes. Yeah. And now with our brisket mac, our chicken mac, and our pork mac, we do put barbecue sauce on it. But actually, we have a lot of people, when they order the brisket mac, they'll get the sauce on the side, because they want to taste just the brisket itself. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you said something so important, Tim. the power of tasting the smoke through meat
Correct.
alone
Yeah.
is so good. So I love that because you want to taste the flavor, add on the sauce, drench it in sauce if you want to, but
Yep.
a Texas girl is telling you, taste the meat.
Yeah, taste the meat, yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Don't hide it underneath the sauce.
Because you don't know what you're getting when it's hidden, right?
Right.
Okay,
For sure.
next up is this mega big, the largest sandwich I have ever seen in my life, and this is tenderloin?
Yeah, so it's a hand-breaded, which we call Indiana tenderloin. It's an Indiana staple, the tenderloin. You go to other states, most of them don't even know what a breaded tenderloin is, but in Indiana, it's a staple.
Okay. A staple in Indiana. I've never had it. This is pork, right?
It is pork.
Fried
Yep,
pork
yep.
tenderloin. How do I eat this? I'm looking at it and I'm like, where do I dive in? Do I cut it? Is that too like cutesy?
You just go for it.
Like, do
It's-
people pick it up?
They
or do
do,
people
and
cut
they eat
it?
it. But a lot of people will cut around it, put it on the side, or they stack it even taller.
Okay, I see
and
what
try
you're
to
saying.
Eat it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay.
We have a lot of people that'll order an extra bun.
Just all right, because this
Yeah.
is like 3 sandwiches.
It is.
Okay,
yeah.
guys, we're going to have our first experience with the most popular sandwich in Indiana, which is the tenderloin. Okay, and we are getting instructions on how to do it. So he said, kind of cut
Yeah,
off
just-
some of the meat,
And then take a bite of it.
and then you can take
And
a
then
bite.
you can get to the bun and,
Yes. Okay, we're gonna do this right. We're learning. I'll look, get a little extra piece, give it to your kid. Okay, and then
No, you gotta try just the
I'm gonna
bite
go in,
right
guys.
there. Just pick
I
that up
could.
and try that too.
You know what? You're saving me. Tim is saving me, but I want to do it right. I'm in
All right.
Indiana. You know, we're just gonna go for it. Okay.
There you go.
All right, guys. Here we go. Very good. I need to taste more of the meat. I don't think
Yeah.
I got a whole lot. I like it, but I can't believe it's pork. Like, it's not tasting like pork. Like, it's
Look at
so. It reminds me of country fried steak.
Yeah, like a country fried steak. Yeah.
Yeah, I
for
used to have
sure.
that in
Yeah.
school. Okay.
We should serve it with the side of the gravy
The
that
gravy?
you can just
Mhm.
yeah. So we have a lot of people that actually order this with our buffalo sauce on it to make it kind of a hot
Yum.
tenderloin. Yeah.
Okay, and then you say order the what? The spicy.
So like the buffalo sauce, like
Buffalo
people
sauce.
they dip that in there, or the bourbon buffalo sauce that we do. If you
Ooh.
like bourbon, it's got a
Yes, we
good
love bourbon.
flavor to it. So.
Okay, so that's an exclusive. When you come in and order it, you get the buffalo sauce and the bourbon buffalo sauce on the side.
There you
okay.
go, yeah.
Awesome. Yay.
Those are good for dipping the fries in
Oh
too.
yeah. And this is so cute, by the way.
Yeah.
Little basket of fries. I love a presentation. Okay, Tim, this was yummy. We're gonna move on to the star of the show.
Yeah, the half gut buster, and it's got a little bit of everything. It's got our ribs, our chicken wings, our mac and cheese, our coleslaw, which is smoked. So that's different, just to
Oh.
let you know.
Okay.
Because that surprises a lot of people, and some people love it. Some people absolutely hate it. But it is what it is.
I'll let you know which way I fall.
Yeah, there you go. And then we've got the our pulled pork, and then our cracked chicken that goes along with that too. So,
Yummy.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it.
all right.
This segment sponsored by Acme Full Circle.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
This segment sponsored by Summit Physical Therapy. I'm sure you've heard of ergonomics before, which involves developing efficiency and comfort in the working environment. Physical therapist Andreas Lomar from Summit Physical Therapy is here to share more. Hi, Andreas.
Hi, good to
How's
be
it
back.
going? Yes, so happy to have you back. And so today we're going to talk about something that's vital to everyone, quite frankly, right?
Right.
Whether you're in a work environment or working from home, and that is ergonomics. So let's start by breaking down. What is that?
So ergonomics is essentially the study of the human's body to efficiently function, to efficiently work with the least amount of wear and tear. So I think that's how you can best sum it up. So we want to make sure that, we don't break the body down day after day, overusing it in postures that are not ergonomically correct, to use the same word, to not perform activities at a frequency that our body can't handle, not perform the same activities over and over and over again if we can somehow avoid doing so.
And that mindfulness and being aware really transfers to what we use as equipment in the office, right? So when we're sitting in a chair, it can affect our backs or even our wrists. And so ergonomic evaluations within the workplace really helps us stop from getting further injuries through that repetition, correct?
Correct. So I think what I would like to emphasize the most is that companies sometimes worry that we're going to come in and recommend a whole bunch of fancy and expensive equipment that they might have to purchase, which is rarely the case. So I think your biggest capital is really your employees' knowledge of what to do, how to position themselves. If you've ever started a job maybe early in your career that involved some physical activities, they may have made you watch like a little video, like how to lift right, how to do that properly.
Right.
And I always have to chuckle when I see those, because I can teach somebody for a full session how to lift properly and probably have to have them come back a few more times to make sure they can lift properly. So the odds that somebody will lift properly just watching a tape is slim to none. So yeah, OSHA might require it, that we talk about those things, but I think your biggest capital really is to invest in your employee, help them understand how to apply this, not just in the workplace, but also at home. Speaking of chairs, I've always said that if I sit in the most expensive and ergonomically correct office chair, I will try one thing, and that is to slouch.
Okay.
And it will always let me. So there's no chair that reminds you to sit straight. Okay, so if you don't know where a neutral spine posture, where neutral alignment in your spine is, the chair is not going to fix that.
Right. And it's really the responsibility of the employer to be able to ensure that their employees have a comfortable work environment. And so why is it so important for them to invest and to make sure that they have the proper equipment?
So I think you could kind of draw the analogy to maintaining any kind of equipment in the workplace. So you spent money on prevention. UPS services all their trucks. They do oil changes, filter change, they lubricate, all kinds of ball bearings. So they don't just fix it when the truck breaks down.
Right.
So they don't say, we don't have any money for oil changes, we'll just replace the engine when it breaks. So why would you not invest in your employees, making sure they do things properly right out of the gate, than having to address an expensive work injury later on that might lead to something that can be quite costly, something like a neck or back injury that might result not just in a surgery, but follow-up rehab, diagnostic imaging, medications, and not to forget lost work time and having to replace that person later on.
Right.
So it is really having a trained therapist come in and identify those points that are a little iffy. It's just a fraction of the cost of what it could potentially cost.
Right, and that leads to some question about what is the cost? What is that investment that businesses have to take? What is realistic?
You can go about that different ways. We can come in, we can do like a worksite evaluation where we point out what exactly everybody is doing on a particular work site, how many repetitions, identify awkward positions, and then also recommend solutions. So us coming on, obviously we would have to come on site to do that. And again, the cost is really not a whole lot higher than maybe having your car worked on in the shop. So again, it's money well spent. I can think of a company who had a workforce of about 110 people, and they would have about 4 to 5 neck injuries every year because they were doing small piece assemblies, so they had to look down quite a bit. And so we came in, recommended work stretches throughout the day, and they implemented those and did a nice job doing so. And a year later, I got a phone call saying, hey, so-and-so company's on the phone, and I kind of crossed my fingers that they didn't have 10 neck injuries.
Right.
So they said we didn't have any. So they wanted to come back and like shoot a video of these drills again and basically distributed them throughout all their other companies across the country.
Right, that's awesome. And I know that the common denominator that most people deal with on a day-to-day basis is sitting in a chair, sitting in an office chair. So we have an office chair here, just so you can kind of show us some important aspects of ergonomics and maybe things that we're doing incorrectly or how you evaluate a chair.
So when it comes to sitting, I'd like to distinguish between sitting supported and sitting unsupported. Sitting supported means you're sitting on the couch at home, you're riding on an airplane, or you're driving your car, which means you always lean back. When you lean back, you can use a lumbar support in your car, or you can use a lumbar roll to kind of help you sit more upright. Office chairs offer that same feature, except there's one problem. When I walk through an office and I look around and there might be 20 office people, nobody uses the backrest. So everybody is kind of sitting very much at the front of their chair doing this. So this fancy back support is really not doing the job. So there are a couple things that I would recommend, and that is either find an office chair where the seat surface can tilt down in the front so that your knees are a little bit higher, a little bit lower than your hips. So anytime your knees are lower, that helps your lower back to be straighter. You know, when you cross your legs, your lower back wants to go into flexion, so this is not helpful. So if your office chair does not tilt, we also oftentimes issue like seat wedges we've discussed in a different segment where you now sit and now your knees are a little bit lower than your hips. So now the chair or the seat surface facilitates better posture rather than forcing you into it, because again, I have never been to an office where people lean back here and they're typing like this.
Yes, and it's almost as if the back of the seat is so far back that just like it looked like you may have just tilted backwards, that's how we feel when we sit down.
And there are ergonomic chairs that are kind of popular in Europe called balance chairs. And they all have a tilted seat surface. They don't even have a backrest. Okay, so you really don't need the backrest. So that's just one element, but there's so many other things to talk about when it comes to ergonomics. And not to forget that you don't have to be a blue-collar worker to be thinking about ergonomics. I've had this discussion with surgeons that, you know, have a 4, 5, 6 hour surgery bending over, where they can't just go ahead and leave for a little bit.
They have to.
My own dentist, you know, if you're right-handed, they do one particular move all day, and that is forward bending and rotating their neck to the left.
Oh my goodness, there's so much involved with ergonomics, and we definitely have to continue this conversation next time. And I love the tip that you gave about not sitting at a 90 degree, but making sure that your legs are a little bit lower to keep your back straight. Thank you so much, Andreas. I appreciate that. And if you would like more information about Summit Physical Therapy and the evaluations for ergonomics, we'll be sure to have their website listed below, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Summit Physical Therapy.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group. Have an idea for the show? Want to find out how you can be a guest? Contact us at livinglocal15@wayne.com.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, you can catch up on episodes of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com or downloading the WANE app. And I'll leave you with this. It's never too late to live your best life. So what? Start living it today. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Go to the Living Local 15 page on WANE.com for recipes from the show, to watch a segment again, and to get information on products and services featured on Living Local 15. Follow us on social media at Living Local 15. Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.